Buying land here in Cyprus definitely comes with a lot of benefits and opportunities. You can build your dream house on it. You can build some investment properties on it, rent them out, sell them, or you can just wait until the land price goes up in value. In Cyprus, the real estate and property market is flourishing, and I see no reason why this should stop in the near future because there are so many new people moving here to Cyprus and the supply and demand is just out of balance. Land that was on the market just 5 years ago, easily 2 to 4x until today. So definitely make sure to watch this video until the very end because I'm going to explain everything you need to know about buying land and plots here in Cyprus. Hey everybody, it's Rico and in this video I'm going to explain how to buy land here in Cyprus and where to get the best plots for the best prices. First, let's talk about the difference between land and plot. Land is actually any kind of surface on earth. A plot is a specifically designed and authorized piece of land that is only usable for a specific use case, such as a house for example with a specific height. So that's for that. And now let's talk about the land market here in Cyprus in general. Cyprus offers residential, commercial and agricultural plots. Residential plots, so land where you want to live with your family for example, is very popular in the coastal regions. So like Paphos where I'm located, Limassol, Larnaca and even Ayia Napa. Commercial plots are actually everywhere, but most of them are actually located in the middle of the island, Nicosia, which is the capital city of Cyprus. But for commercial purposes, I actually always say that maybe you don't need to buy land in the first place, so there are actually some very interesting leasing options that you might look into. Also, if you have a big commercial business idea, such as an aqua park for example, you definitely need to do a big research first, because you may need some special licenses and also permissions from the authorities. For me personally, as Cyprus is a beautiful Mediterranean island, it's almost a necessity to live close to the beach. And that is why I chose Paphos, because I really love the surroundings here. I love the green nature, I love the beaches, the people and everything that Paphos offers. And you can even find some amazing plots very close to the sea here in the Paphos region and also in Paya and in the Akamas region. But obviously it's a little bit more expensive than some land somewhere in the mountains. I actually regularly see some online listings about land in the mountains, and I definitely think it's interesting for a long-term investment opportunity, or for example agricultural or vineyard purposes, or if you have other hobbies that you want to do in the mountains, yes, then it might be interesting. But I don't think you want to live that off-grid for too long. Or do you? Let me know in the comments. Under specific requirements, you can actually even build a house in your agricultural land in the mountains, but definitely do a research. Or actually, no one will find you anyway. Now, back to the topic, and something that is very important here in Cyprus are the zoning laws, because they are designed to actually regulate the plot that you bought, how you will use the property, what you can build on it, everything that is associated with actually using and developing the land. But the zoning laws here in Cyprus are dynamic and individual, and that means if you already know which plot you want to have, you may definitely look up the zoning laws for that specific plot before you do the purchase. Just as an example, some areas might be zoned for residential use, commercial use or agricultural use only. On some zones there might be environment protection. On other zones you may not have a connection to the infrastructure. So understanding these regulations is absolutely necessary for you to determine if a land is suitable for you or not. You don't want to buy a land just to find out later on that you can actually not build as high as you want, or you cannot have the pool that you want, or this or that. Recently a client of mine bought a beautiful plot in the sea caves in the Akamas region here in Paphos, a little bit down there, and he had the permission to build a beautiful house right next to the street, and in front of his house he has a beautiful 180-degree sea view. And the amazing thing is that this sea view will stay there forever. The land in front of his house is actually everything Natura 2000, which means it's environment protected and no one will ever be able to build something else on that land in front of his house. Isn't that beautiful? And this also obviously increases the value of the house very much. For the price of land here in Cyprus, it actually mainly depends on the location, but also on the surroundings and on the purpose of the land. The most expensive land is obviously seafront housing plots. The least expensive is some agricultural land somewhere in the mountains without a sea view. And I actually have 3 price examples that I saw recently, and that is number 1, the Sea Caves land that I told you earlier about the client of mine, and he paid 450,000 euros and it was 500 square meters. This is actually like the higher price range. In the middle we have something like Paphos city center, so where I'm currently located and everything around here with a radius of a few kilometers. And here you can also find 500 square meter plots, so the same size as the guy in the Sea Caves, but they already start at 100,000 euros. And then the lower price range, we already talked about it, and that is the land in the mountains where you can find 20,000 square meters for 20,000 euros, which is basically just €1 per square meters. Now, before I explain where you can find the best deals for land here in Cyprus, let's quickly talk about the exact step-by-step process on how you can buy land in Cyprus. You start with making an offer for the desired land that you want to buy, and then you go into negotiation, and then let's say you found the perfect deal, the perfect price, both parties agree, and then you actually make a pre-sale agreement and you pay a deposit, which is usually around 20% of the purchase price. When the buyer and the seller both sign the pre-sale agreement, then the land actually goes off the market and you have about 40 days to make some due diligence. You will then need to check everything about the land if you're 100% sure that you want to buy it. You check, for example, the title deeds, surveys and everything else that is important before you purchase. And then the due diligence was positive, you confirm that you want to buy the land, it's perfect for you. Then you go to your lawyer, you sign the actual sales agreement, and then you will pay the outstanding balance. When you paid the money, you will register the land on your name. You will do that at the land registry office or at the district land office, and then you will actually get the title deeds for the plot in your name, which confirms the ownership of that land. Just as a side info, every European person has the same rights as Cypriots when it comes to buying land. Non-Europeans can also buy land here in Cyprus officially, but there are some additional requirements and they need some permission before they can buy the land. Where to find the best deals for land in Cyprus? You basically have 4 options. Option number 1 is the most common one, and that is to work with a real estate agency or with a real estate agent. But it's so important to actually work with a professional agency, because here in Cyprus it's all about connections and experience. The real estate market is so dynamic and a lot of people are in the market, so you definitely want to work with the most professional agencies and agents. Option number 2 are online listings and marketplaces, and here in Cyprus the 2 biggest platforms for that is the Facebook marketplace and the Bazaraki website. This is if you want to do the research on your own and you want to contact the landowners directly. Number 3, and now it's getting interesting, and that is local contacts. In Cyprus, everybody knows each other. The landowner knows someone that knows someone that knows someone that knows someone, and if that person wants the landowner is going to sell to that person and not to some random dude that is just coming to Cyprus. So if you want to move to Cyprus or invest into the Cyprus real estate market, you definitely need to make some connections. You need to network, you need to be friendly with people, you need to have friends here, and as I said, good connections. Number 4, also very interesting, and that is local auctions. That means here in Cyprus we actually have some auction houses and also some local authorities that sell land from people that, for example, passed or some other things happened, and there you can get absolute bargains, absolute killer prices, but it's also not that easy to go into those really good auction houses because it's also a closed network. As I said earlier, the title deeds are very important and they confirm the ownership of the land. And I have 5 tips for you for the due diligence for the title deeds. Tip number 1 is very important, and that is definitely make sure that the actual word plot appears on the title deed. So you actually know that you have the right title deeds, and also sometimes it's in Greek, so definitely make sure to have a Greek contact double checking everything. Tip number 2, also check if the utility services are also provided, so water, electricity and telephone. Number 3, also very important for plots in the suburbs or in villages, for example, and that is make sure that you have some vehicular access to the actual infrastructure of the village, so that you have a normal access with your car. Number 4, for building a property, definitely obtain a survey of the land that just ensures that everything is correct and nothing will be in the way of building and developing. And tip number 5, we also shortly talked about it earlier and it's a little bit connected, and that is also check for town planning zones that may affect the land. For example, in some areas here in Cyprus, it used to be only 2 floors that are allowed. But then there was one house that got a permission for a 3-floor building, and then suddenly everybody is building 3 floors. So definitely make sure to check the town planning zones, but also look at what your neighbors are doing and what they are building, because this is also a very good indicator to see what you're allowed to build. Now, definitely not my favorite topic, but it's so important, and that is taxes and hidden costs when it comes to buying land in Cyprus. I actually talked about all the costs in the Cyprus property guide. You can watch this video right here, but I will quickly mention all of the taxes and costs that will be associated with a land purchase in Cyprus. Number 1, VAT. The VAT rate is currently 19% here in Cyprus, and that means most likely you will have to pay an additional 19% on top of the purchase price of your land, but it can be that the purchase price is already inclusive VAT. Definitely make sure to check the offer. And 2, there are some scenarios where you can actually be exempt of the VAT, but this definitely needs an individual consultation. Number 2, the transfer fees. Because currently all land in Cyprus is owned by somebody, it needs to be transferred to you, and there you have to pay a transfer fee when you actually get the title deeds. But there are no further taxes. Number 3 is the stamp duty. When you actually get the documents stamped, you will have to pay an additional fee to the government. And number 4 are the other costs, such as the agent, the real estate agent, and the lawyers that you will need. When you want to sell your land or the property later on, you will also have to pay about 20% of capital gains tax, even if you're a non-dom. And then when it comes to developing the land, you definitely want a very good architect. The architect is like the heart of your project. You want to get all the planning permissions. You want to hire professional construction firms. You want to hire professional managers so that the construction project is just professionally managed. You don't have to worry about anything going wrong. And if you want to have any recommendations of my partners that I'm working with for years now, you can definitely check the video description and contact me there. And also definitely make sure to watch this video about buying properties here in Cyprus, and I will see you there.